Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. It's like we have a quorum. So welcome to our September LGBTQ plus commission meeting. We're going to go ahead and do our roll call. So I chair Dr. Kathleen Odell. I'm here. Vice Chair Michael.
Present. Aloha, everyone.
Secretary temporary for at least tonight, Joe. Joe, are you there and can you hear us?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
And you're still okay for the secretary for this meeting?
Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
you're welcome.
Shanda. Shanda's present.
I'm present, yes.
Excellent. Sandy is not able to attend. Philip, are you with us? No. Rocco? Rocco is here. And Rick.
We're gonna get verbal for the report.
Oh, Rocco, for the recording, can you come off mute and say I'm here?
Sorry, yes, I'm here.
And Shanda, do you mind coming off and saying I'm here?
I can. This is Shanda. I'm here.
Excellent. And Rick?
Yes, I'm here.
Rick is
Hello,
here. And
everybody.
Philip, you just joined. Can you let us know that you're here? Philip's waiting to come off mute there.
Thank you. I'm here. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. And then I see Thaddeus. Thaddeus Pham is here.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Thaddeus Pham, representing the Department of Health.
Is there anyone? Oh, Tosa. Tosa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, Tosa Lobendon, Office of Senator San Buenaventura. Sorry, I can't, my camera's not working. My apologies.
Thank you for joining us. All right, we'll jump right in under new business.
Excuse me, Kat, is Kristen here? I thought I saw her earlier.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Yes,
right here.
Kristen.
And so only Kristen and Thad are here from our other commission, our ex-officios, or no?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Under new business, I don't see anyone from the public here or on Zoom, but do we have commissioners who would like to share any new business or concerns?
Well, yes, this is Rick.
Okay, 1 minute to Rick.
Thank you. Just a couple announcements. Congratulations to Rocco on what I heard was an outstanding Kona Pride. Thank you. Also, we just celebrated, I forget what number, the Honolulu Rainbow Film Festival for the LGBT community. And there are 2 events coming up October 1st for the LGBT community. One at the mayor, one at Fasi Hale, the tree dedication, and I guess at the Aliolani Hale for the judiciary for their presentation there too. And I believe there was still another event. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't I wrote it down. Oh, here. I'm sorry, I don't have it. I wrote it down and I lost it. I'm sorry. But just wanted to make a note of all those things. Congratulations, Rocco, and hope to see anybody from the community at those events on October 1st.
Thank you so much, Rick.
You're welcome.
Other commissioners? New business? Sharing of concerns? Michael.
First, I do want to apologize for missing last month's meeting. I had things that came up that I could not be here. On that note, well, on another note, I did want to make sure everybody was aware of the nurses being locked out of Kathleen Medical Center. The reason this is a issue for our community is there are a lot of queer nurses out there. And the nurses have been very supportive of our community in our fight for justice and equality at the Capitol. So if you are able to, I encourage everybody to support them in any way, shape, or fashion possible. And that we hope that there is a quick resolve to this lockout. From the Capitol Medical Center locking up the nurses from their legally maintained right to do the one-day strike. So, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else on our commission?
This is Shanda. This is more of an administrative thing, so I don't know if this is even relevant, but I am going to say I have been getting emails to my work email instead of any of my private emails, which I've been getting, but I would like to change that to commissionershanda@gmail.com if possible. And I am no longer Shanda Lewis. I am now Shanda Brack, BRACK.
Congratulations. Oh,
Thanks.
congratulations.
That's very exciting. We will change that for our next agenda. I'll send out a reminder about your email address. I think we had a couple more people join. We just get a, let's see. We've got Jimmy.
Beth, yeah.
Can't see your face. Oh, there you are. Come on off mute if you don't mind.
Hi, this is Beth Schimmelfennig. I'm representing the Superintendent of Education.
Thank you, Beth. And then I have Nakamura.
Hi, I'm Signe. I'm representing the director for the Department of Human Resources Development.
Thank you, Sydney. And then I have someone listed as EL.
Hi, this is Deputy AG Aaron Lau. Sorry, I logged on from the not my usual device today.
Wow, noted. Okay, and then were there other commissioners who wanted to share any new business or concerns? Philip.
I don't know if this is the time or place for it, but I'm considering coming to Oahu next Tuesday for some of those events, and I'm curious if any other commissioners will be in attendance at either and or both of those. I see Shanda waving.
I'll be there for both.
I see Kat. Okay.
Rick's waving.
I'm waving.
Okay. 3.
I had
Okay.
planned,
Cool.
I had planned on it, but when I called to get a flight over, I could get the earliest flight in that morning, but there was no flight coming home, so I'm out.
I know we haven't had our travel discussion yet, but one of the questions that I've heard is, would something like this be reimbursed, right, for travel outside of meetings for the commission, like these events that we've been invited to? So can I ask for that to be put on the agenda for us to talk about for today? Can someone so move?
Does it fall under a travel discussion?
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Bring it up for them?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, we'll include it in our travel discussion. Great.
Did you already have a travel discussion agenda item on? I'm a little bit confused, catching up.
Look through, hang on. I'm pretty sure we did.
Number 4 under new business.
There it is.
Okay,
Is that
so
not
that's
Erin?
supposed to be encompassed within, that the intention to encompass it within that discussion.
Okay.
As long as that was the intention, it's fine. Otherwise, you just need to make a motion to modify the agenda to encompass that and have a vote, and that vote has to pass by 2/3 of your commissioners.
Can I have someone move to include it, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second. Second.
second, okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Then we will add it to 4.
Mayor, please ask for if there's any abstentions or nays so that you can confirm that all the votes were in favor of aye.
Are there any abstentions or nays? Okay, so moved. All right, thank you. And then anyone else who didn't have a chance? New business? Concerns? Okay. So we'll move on to number 2, and that is the creation of a logo. I did have Camaron ask some of his students at UH if anybody wanted to take a shot at designing a logo. I'm going to share my screen right now. I sent it in the board packet as well. This is what they came up with. So let's open discussion about this logo. What do you all think? Michael?
I like it. You know, my only problem is, I don't know, this is just the OCD in me sometimes, that's how it turns the wings to the left. I think kind of more, otherwise, I think it's great. It's very great to start off and further down the road, if there's something else that people seem to be more. This is a great way to get us going. The only thing I have is, centering the top and bottom.
I'm wondering if it leans to the left so that the rainbow portion of the flag looks like an actual arch rainbow.
Maybe.
Like a rainbow over the islands.
Oh, the flag's fine, just the wording, I'm talking about.
Oh, the wording. I
See, the
did.
word, sorry, I wasn't more clear on that. Just the wording.
Others input?
How do we raise our hand here?
I see your hand, Rick.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I had also like to request that we also are able to produce some signs. I was particularly thinking about magnetic signs that go on cars. If
Okay,
we're
that'd be in our next discussion. First, we gotta approve the logo.
Oh, it's a different thing?
Yeah. This
Oh,
is
okay.
just for the creation of the logo.
Okay.
So if we were to center the wording around the outside, Shanda?
I have a question about the circle. Am I missing some meaning there?
If I may.
Oh, go ahead, please, Michael.
This is the complete inclusive progressive pride flag now. The yellow triangle with the circle in it refers to the intersex community. So you have the transgender flag represented. And then of course, since people of color have been historically left out of the LGBT movement, that was added back and started in, I want to say, Philadelphia. And then the traditional 6 colors from the pride flag. So that's what the current most version of the progressive pride flag looks like, to be all inclusive, the LGBTQIA plus community.
Got it. Thanks.
Anyone else? Feedback?
Yeah, I'm had of my hand up.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
It's okay. I like it with the islands and the rainbow, but the flag kind of like throws me off. It's just a little bit too busy for my taste.
Sorry, I screen
Because-
jumped.
Because the rainbow already represents us, you know, so, and the islands is there, so that's nice to have our state represented that way, but I'm not so up on with the flag on there.
Other opinions?
I'm going to say that I agree with what you're saying, Joe, but I do feel like the tides are shifting where these additional groups are seeing themselves represented in this new flag. And I think it's pretty important to include it, even though the rainbow, I agree, is a more traditional way to see that. I see more and more of these shifting to this direction. So I would suggest that we just kind of roll with that tide and match the times on that.
Michael?
I agree with what Rocco said, and this is also a great opportunity to start educating people about the other parts of our segment of our community, because traditionally the rainbow flag has just been LGBT, leaving out our trans family members. And again, like I pointed out earlier, we're not so much here in Hawaii, but back definitely on the continent, we saw people of color not being represented. And in quite some time, there was times when you looked at the cover of the gay mags that we used to have, it was basically white men on the cover. So, and this also draws attention to the needs of our intersex and non-binary communities as well, with the transgender community. So it also gives us an opportunity when we put the logo out there on the website, or if we do anything else with it, to help educate our fellow community members as well as the general public.
Could we also have it a little bit more centered, because Hawaii State LGBT is like off-centered, and then commissioned on the bottom is like, you know, unless it's more even.
Yeah, I think that's what Michael was bringing up too, if we could center the wording.
Yeah.
So I think that's not a difficult ask, so if we center the wording.
I move that we accept this logo with the wording centered on the top and the bottom.
I second.
Rocco second. All those in favor? Oh, any further discussion? Sorry, before we vote.
I would just like to say it would be lovely if we could somehow incorporate MVPFAFF in there. I don't think it should be included in the words around the edges, and I'm not enough of an artist to imagine how it could go anywhere in the flag or the rainbow, unless it was maybe across the islands or something. I cannot make that look, but I think at least considering trying to include that might be worthwhile. If anybody,
Donna, one more
I don't
time,
have
you
the
were
idea
saying-
though.
You were gonna say you wanted to include, what was it? I didn't catch the beginning.
MVPFAFF.
Others, what do you think about that?
We're talking about our official name that has been in statute that we have before us for our logo. And there's been a greater discussion on this, that acronym only deals with Pacifica, so it leaves out the Asian communities, Guam. And so that there's, well, we've seen that being more inclusive. That right now we're looking at what we're dealing with as a statutory issue, that being the title of our commission as from the legislature. That if we wanted to do that, we would need to go back and at least look at broadening the scope of this commission.
Thaddeus has his hand up. Excuse me, Michael.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing this and for the work on that. Just to echo what Shanda was saying, I would maybe ask the commission to consider before approving it, to share with our, like, for example, Papalolo Kahi or one of our native Hawaiian health systems, just so that it can really reflect and get feedback from those particular communities. And then something else to consider is if this is printed in black and white, how that might read. So just always considering for logos and icons, how it is for folks who can't print it or use it in color. Thanks.
And I agree, Michael. I don't think it should be around the outside. I don't think it should be part of our, make it seem like it is part of our name, but at least to find a way to represent that, because so many people that I talk to that are Polynesian or Native Hawaiian they don't resonate with LGBTQ. That's not the term that they like. So to have something that feels culturally appropriate somehow represented, even if it is not necessarily those letters, I don't know how else to do that other than having a picture of Hawaii. So I know that does it, but for us to consider it, I think is a good idea.
I'm just gonna add to the discussion that we are taking a look at having some presence in October Pride. And so I think that we want to also consider the amount of time that it would take to change the logo, and especially if we are running it past multiple groups. I'm just gonna put that out there.
And the follow-up on that is that one of our responsibilities as commissioners and sitting on this board is that we are supposed to go out to our communities, especially with our board packets, and seek their input. There's gonna be things that come before this commission, and like I said, this is just the starting off point. That if to at least get something going out there to let people know that we're here, and if there's a better way of doing that in the future, that we definitely can relook at this. It's another issue, but we are responsible for taking these things, because I did show this to a few people as well as shared it with a couple of different groups. And the one thing they came back was for a state logo, this is one of the most impressive things they've seen out come out of the state. And this is a great starting off point for us as we move forward, but we also have the responsibility to forward these kinds of things out to the groups that we're here to represent. To make sure that we have their feedback before we come to a vote at this. At these commissions.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
I've been waving for a while. I have to plead.
Sorry.
That's
When you're
okay.
below on the Zoom screen, I can't see you unless
That's
you
okay.
raise the mechanical hand.
Oh, I have to plead ignorance. I don't know what we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes. Can somebody please clarify what adding different letters? I don't know what any of that means.
Shanda, you want to clarify?
Yeah,
I would prefer somebody who knows all the terms. It includes the Polynesian terms that often that more resonate with the folks in Hawaii, that are like mahu and fa'afafine, and I don't know the rest. I'm so sorry.
Okay, thank you. I have to say, after 20 years of living here, I've never ever heard that, but thank you.
And Michael was saying, I mean, this does not have to be like a forever logo. A commission can always vote to change a logo, right? This one did come out of the UH LGBTQ plus center.
Yeah,
From
I
the younger generation.
think Thaddeus just sent us something. Thad, is that what all those letters mean? That paper you gave us?
Yeah, I know that the chat doesn't show up in the recording, but yeah, I put a link in the chat that explains the acronym that Shanda was referring to.
What is it? Can you just tell us what, because I know Mahu was, Fa'afafine is one. MV, I don't even, I get them. It's new for some of us at a certain age. I don't know.
Sure, yeah, I can go over. So I'll just go over the letter. I'll read it to you so you can know each. So M is for Mahu, which encompasses Hawaii and Tahiti identities. Vakasa Leva Leva is Fijian identities around gender diversity. Palopa is Papua New Guinea. Fa'afafine and is Samoa. Akava'ine is Rarotonga, and Pakaleti is Tonga as well. Or Tonga separately, and then Fakafifine is Niue. So increasingly, this is just, and I think Michael alluded to this, this is increasingly ways of kind of centering LGBTQIA issues in other spaces, especially relevant to Hawaii. But as Michael also alluded, it doesn't represent the entirety of all the different identities, including, for example, Asians or Micronesians. So it's an imperfect, but an attempt to kind of encompass more identities that are not necessarily included in the flag. So hopefully that's helpful for you folks for context.
And I like, okay, I'm sorry, just to add on to that, I really like, somebody made the comment that this is a work in progress. So we can start this if we need to change this logo or have additional kinds of identifiers, or we can still do that, right? We're not tied into it forever.
We did, oh, Thaddeus, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo that. Also that, you know, I think you folks are doing a great job, and I think the logo is maybe you consider it as an opportunity for engagement, right? You're going to put it out. Not everyone's going to love everything about a logo anyway, but it gives you a way to continue to engage with community. So I think you folks are off to a great start.
Can I just for 1 second, I'm having trouble hearing, especially Thad. We're gonna try and turn the speaker off maybe a little bit. May just be my old ears. Thanks. Okay, so we did have a motion and a second to approve as is with the wording centered. So, is there any further discussion before we take a vote on that? Okay, all of those.
What,
in
Joe,
favor-
are you waving?
No,
Just waving.
All those in favor of approving the logo with the verbiage centered, say aye.
I,
Aye. Okay,
I,
any nays or abstentions? Okay, we have approved the logo, as is with centered verbiage. Thank you, everyone. That leads us to our next, discussion, media and marketing items for distribution. And here, Rick, I think you had something that you wanted to say.
Oh, yes, please. I know that there are parades that come up. There will be one on Pride Day here in Oahu. And you can get these magnetic signs that are pretty much just squares. And I was thinking that for that, we just want something on the outside of the car and it just goes by really fast if we participate. But for use, something that simply in some big font, black letters on a white background that says LGBTQ plus commission, and underneath it just had our website, a place where people could contact us, the email thing. And I was wondering if we could get some of those. I called up the place in Aiea, they call it Print Center, Copy Center, and they're about $50 each. So 4 of them would be $200. I use them in a lot of the parades, I've noticed.
Okay, do I have anyone public testimony on this?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so first of all, we need to approve and vote on a budget for these items, but we also need to vote and approve what items exactly we're talking about. And one of the things that I want to bring up is if we're directing them to a website, we need to make sure that we have our website up and running. We have a page, but we definitely will need content. We want to be careful about, I think, what we're putting out there. We don't want to just send people to a blank page. I don't think that's going to look great. So I just think we have to keep that in mind. If we're talking about having a logo, that's one thing we've approved. But then, yeah, if we're talking about doing this in a timely manner for Pride, which is weeks away, literally weeks, then we have to consider, can we get the website going at the same time? Maybe we do that. That's my input there. Michael.
following up on that, how many people have responded to Kristen's email asking for your bio, picture, stuff to add to the website? And we also have to keep in mind that when we say we're actually talking about Kristen, because none of us have access. Besides us, Kristen has a lot more other duties, so we just gotta keep everything in retrospective and realistic of her other duties with DHS. What?
I think I'm just waiting for 2.
Okay.
Waiting on 2, Kristen,
Yeah.
yes. Philip. Oh, never mind. Rick.
Right now, my understanding is what's on the Department of Human Services page on are just the last 2 minutes from our first 2 meetings. I think that's it that we have right now. And I'm wondering if we could maybe, I don't know how hard it would be to add whatever email we're going to use, because we do have the email now. Just to add that, and then as we continue to add minutes, if we have at least that where people could get in touch with us, I think that would be a good starting point. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look at that page. Right now, it just has the first meeting. It has basically the rundown. It has the timeline of the meeting. And then it has, and all we have for our second meeting is going to be a very brief set of minutes. The only thing that we still have to do is maybe have some way to link that Department of Human Service page to the YouTube channel that we have now, that where we can start to upload meetings.
So we kind of just, our media people who do the content for the website, they wanted to get a little, we're just kind of waiting till you guys got the logo, and that's why I wanted to do your guys' bio and pictures. So at least the public can see who you guys are and have a little bit more transparency with you folks. And then I was gonna put meetings, agendas in a separate hyperlink along with the YouTube on it as well. And then if you guys had any events or press releases, we'll put it on top of the website as well. And then I'm trying to get like a widget where any news that you guys want to put out to the public or anything, we can put that up on there as well.
So would it be feasible if the two people, and I won't call them out, I'll ask you to email them individually. If the two people who haven't turned in their bios and headshots do so within the next week, would we be able to get that done before Honolulu Pride?
Yeah, I mean, I don't put it on top, but they're pretty fast about turning it around and putting it on the website.
Okay.
But I mean, it'll pretty much just have like a logo and then your guys' names, and then it's like a hyperlink with your guys' file and picture. And then meetings, agenda, and YouTube link.
And
So-
hopefully our email address so they can.
And then your guys' email address, yeah.
Okay, great.
And then we can kind of talk about what other stuff you guys want to add on as well.
Like our mission statement from the
Yeah.
statute.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna put that right underneath at the very top.
The
Thank
items that you're saying right now, I think would be excellent as a start. If we could at least have that done, then I would be comfortable with, in addition to our logo on a car or whatever we're about to decide we have, maybe putting a QR code to the website. Does that make sense?
Nice. I think Rocco had a question.
He said thumbs up. You're in
Oh, no,
agreement?
that was my question. I'm one of the offending ones. I will submit. in the next-
Well, you
and
have
then
been a little busy.
Within
Yeah,
the next 2 days, I will send it. I'm sorry, but that's what I was gonna ask. When is the deadline before we can get that to you to make sure that that is done before Pride for Oahu? But yeah, next couple of days, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Is it easier, like, if there's things that we know we want on there, like the YouTube and how we want to link, just send you a Word document with all the things ready to go, since it's WordPress, the copy and paste, and drop it in.
Yeah, or even if it's like a link to an article or flyer, just,
Okay.
or even if it's a PDF flyer, so you guys can send it to me.
Okay.
And then.
Great.
we can-
Thank you.
So far, we're talking about magnetic signs. Oh, go ahead, Rocco.
Oh, just one question. If
Yeah.
any of us have suggestions about what could also be helpful to include on that website, would we need to go ahead and just chat with you, Kat, or do we bring it up at the next meeting? What's the best way to suggest items to put on that website?
Unless Aaron is going to tell me otherwise, I think that you can send it directly to me.
Okay.
See how I pause? Okay.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly who, if there was someone in charge of the website. So was that part of someone's duties?
No.
I'm going to
Okay.
assume that falls under my duty.
Falls
Still.
under media, so. It's media.
Yeah.
That's how I was looking at it. It falls under media until further. The chair gets the umbrella term until.
Until we get
Okay.
someone. Yeah.
So to the extent that it's just that she's, I guess it depends on the content, right? That you want to put up there. So I would, yes, I guess go through the chair. And then if she has questions, she can talk to me.
Thank you. I'm sure I will. Okay, so far we've talked about signs for a vehicle. 4 signs Rick suggested. What other suggestions might we have? Is there other things that we want to hand out or distribute, have on hand for other things that we might want to create at this time?
Well, you also, I think usually you need tablecloths if you're attending events. Tablecloths that have either a logo or our name on them. If we could have those too. I mean, we could just use plain tablecloths if we want to, but.
Sorry, Rick, you're a little bit garbled, so I didn't catch
Oh.
the beginning of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. for tabling events, they usually have table costs and some kinds of signage, either the kind that you put up behind the tablecloth that you put up on the rise things.
Okay, so for the future, if we have a booth, but I think that for Honolulu Pride, we don't have a booth, and I think it might be a little late to be getting a booth. Anyone
Nope.
else?
I think you still can get one.
Well, that's on our, so that's,
Yeah.
I think we need to look at it globally on things, so since that's what we're talking about, media and marketing items for distribution. At this point, we really don't have anything to distribute, because the only thing we have is the website. We don't have any programs, we're just getting our feet under us. That we need to start working with the other state departments to get more LGBTQIA inclusive verbiage. And as before we start rolling those distributions of anything else out, the only other thing I would recommend at this time is a banner. Because, well, the side magnets are nice and all, but for that long shot, when you're looking at the media shots of, you're able to see the name of the organization, and you actually have their attention longer than you will driving by on the vehicle then. And then you could also then turn around and use that banner for behind a table or posting if we sponsor an event. We could have our banner put up there. So it becomes more of a global issue than a one-time usage kind of idea. So, and those, depending on the size, you're looking no more than $200 for the full banner, 6 grommets reinforced. Yeah.
So if
With poles.
we had like $500 in the budget, we'd be able to buy magnetic signs, the banner, and maybe some balloons. For the parade?
Well, I'm repeating something.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Oh, yeah,
long-term
that's
versus
not
short-term.
really media marketing.
So if we put $500 into this budget to cover those two things, then we look at something else behind it. So I move that we.
Oh, Shanda has her hand raised.
Well, sorry, just to provide some context before you guys continue your discussion, we'll have to discuss with DHS about your potential purchases, and I'll have to research whether you need to procure them. Usually you don't have to if it's a very small purchase, but it would just depend on what you're purchasing.
Okay, can I follow up with you on that part, Erin?
Yes.
Shanda,
I don't think this is something that needs to happen right now, but I would like it included in things that we are considering for media and marketing items. Especially once we get the website going, is business cards for each of us that have the logo and maybe the website, and we'll be thinking about that at a future meeting, but I just wanted to keep that.
I'd also love to have some stickers. I like the logo. Rocco,
And just coming from like a pride standpoint, one thing I know is people do not like literature when they're at Pride. It's hot, messy, no one's going to hold on to it. If we wanted something printed, I would suggest something that's attached to a fan. You know, they do those little popsicle stick fans. Everybody loves them for Pride, and they're pretty cost effective. You can get them printed in a huge box. So if it was something kind of generalized without dating on it, we could use it at multiple events.
Awesome.
like that.
Hey, Rick, a question for you. About the idea about the banner with our logos on there. Would it be ready for the upcoming Pride in October?
I move quickly. I mean, there's some limitation, I think Erin is saying about from whom we obtain it and, you know, how it's being paid for, but that's why it's what's the date now? It's like 3 weeks away. Right?
Just about.
4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, we'll have to move fast.
That brings up a question. Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well, Rick.
That brings up a question for me. If we are able to get things donated at no cost? Are we able to accept such donations? For example, banners, those signs, and if it just is simply what it says, like those magnet signs. I had somebody who was saying that they might donate, they might pay for it. If we get those, can we accept donated things? I know we can get money.
Sarah, do you want to rule in on that?
Yeah, I'm checking your statute right now. Give me a second.
Sorry, that's okay.
If a commissioner were to take it in personally and just repeat, put it through ethics on a gift receipt, to declare it that way,
Well, I was thinking they would donate it to somebody, wherever we're gonna store this stuff. I don't know, which might be at somebody's house, right?
So I think it would, what you're talking about is a specific donation to the commission, not to a specific commissioner. And I would have to talk to my supervisor about that, whether that can be considered under funds and donations. I think it would be, but I would like to get that extra confirmation from above me.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can take that offline, and I can just get back to you that way.
Thanks.
but without a firm commitment as we sit here today, I move that we set aside $500 to purchase the magnetic signs and banner for events.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
I,
Any further discussion? I keep forgetting that. Thank you, Michael. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, $500. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Okay, so moved. $500 for magnetic signs and a banner. All right, then we move on to Honolulu Pride, which is October 18th through the 20th, quickly approaching. Any public testimony? Philip is waving.
Waving through a window. Can somebody clarify what that means? October 18th through 20th, and is there a proposal that we're participating in? Like, just the specifics, because now there's October 1st, and now there's a meeting on the 16th of October, and now there's this, and I don't think I can come all the time, but I'd like to know details.
So what we're talking about is being in the parade with maybe a vehicle and some of us walking. Is that correct, everyone?
Well, there's no proposal before us. It's just talking about what does participation by this commission look like?
Yeah.
What are people willing and able to do, or what is actually realistic, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the scope. And for everybody listening, the parade is on the 19th, Saturday the 19th. It starts at 4 p.m., goes from 4 p.m. I think it's 4 p.m. 4 p.m. from Magic Island to the Shell, with the festival starting at 5 o'clock through the rear engines of the Shell. There are other events happening around that weekend, but it would be my suggestion that we'd only focus on them, given our limited time we have between now and the parade, that we only do something for the from the parade side and not actually look at a booth at the festival.
I'm in agreement with that. For one of the reasons I'm in agreement with that is that if we have a booth at the festival, we would have to really have things to hand out, have some interesting thing going on. And I mean, many things have to be planned and bought to have a successful booth. And we don't really have a handle on any of that yet. So I would be in agreement with participating in the parade itself. That's it. Anyone else?
Okay, just a couple points I'd like to make. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody else going? Can I go first?
Yes, go ahead, Rick.
Okay, two things. One is, we did at our last meeting vote to support okay, we don't have to have the booth. We did agree, and I hope we supported Kona Pride, but we did agree that we were going to try this year to support to the tune of $500 per county, the the Pride Festival. So hopefully we could still sponsor it even if we don't have much or any of the presence there. Second, I understand that the parade doesn't cost anything except for whatever we would pay to rent the vehicle. Is that, do people understand that it costs $495 for a booth at Pride? And that's, might not have anything to give except to have people there meeting them, but that would be $500. That's what you pay for, and that gives you the booth with the table and 2 chairs. The parade didn't, to my best that I could find, have a fee attached. You could donate, but if we had it, and somebody has a really nice vehicle that they would want to lend, there would still be a rental fee for a vehicle, and I don't know if the state allows us to do that. If you could rent a convertible for a parade, I don't know who would pay for that. So
Okay,
the
Rick,
parade,
hang on. There's too many things to respond and discuss here. But first,
Okay.
I know that this is gonna be a hard one, but when you're moving, I think I'm not hearing you very well.
Oh.
Stay still and close to the microphone because I'm missing every 10th word.
Okay.
I don't know about everybody else, but
Okay, so
okay,
there
so
are
the
2
first thing
issues.
you said, first thing was Kona Pride. We did not make the cutoff because we didn't have everything together in time. And because
Oh,
Rocco
sorry.
was such an amazing event planner, he had all the booths completely sold out before we could even do anything. So that's the one thing, although Philip and I were there in support. Right. The second part you said, do we have money to give to the parade for a booth?
No, okay, there are 2 different things.
Okay,
To have a booth costs the $495. Okay, the parade, I could not find an associated cost. You can register for the parade, but you don't pay the Pride Festival to be in the parade. However, you can give them a or something. There would be a cost to rent a vehicle. And so those are the things we're talking about. I
okay, so
don't
can we
know.
just do one at a time? Like, let's do
Sure.
booth first, for example. Can we just
Mhm.
discuss whether or not to have a booth?
Okay.
What does everyone think?
And-
Because Michael and I have weighed in on that part of it already.
And I would like to weigh in and say, I think even if we don't have brochures to hand out, we could still have a presence. The people attending could still see that we have the LGBTQ plus commission and that we're part of Pride. And that's going to be the biggest Pride in event, biggest Pride event in the state. So I would like us to participate, even if we don't have brochures printed. I don't know how quickly we could or could not get the fans that Rocco talked about printed up. I imagine we could do something, but even if we don't have handouts, to have people, and I don't know if people would be willing to sit at or going to the Pride Festival, would be willing to man the booth and just introduce ourselves to the community. But I would like to have a presence at Pride, but I understand that there's difference of opinion.
Others? Regarding the booth? Rocco.
I see both sides. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I think I'm just curious about the booth. How long is the festival, first of all? And if it is like, standard 5 or 6 hours, we could always just rotate someone at the booth per hour. I think that would probably be feasible unless someone wanted to stay, for longer or whatever. But second of all, it does seem a little bit strange to not have something to market the group with. Like having an empty tent is kind of strange. So if there's a way that can be identified, I think that would probably, I'm in support of the booth or not. I'm supportive of just, having a march in the parade, like any visibility at this point is good for a group as new as ours. So I'll support either end of that, but those are just automatic things that come up in my head. What would be a little problematic with an empty booth?
Thank you, Rocco.
I think it's,
Shanda?
yeah.
Sorry, Shanda? You have your hand up?
I do. I don't know if I'm not muted. I was actually just going to make the same point that Rocco made. I would be willing to sit at the booth. I have no problem with that. And I think it's a great idea because people don't know we exist. And just being there, this is the big Pride Festival where we're going to see lots of people and be open to their input would be great. And it seems a little weird not to hand anything out, but I've seen lots of booths that are like that, especially booths that are kind of like us that don't, I'm not going to say we don't do anything, but we are not necessarily, we're not selling anything. We don't have our own merchandise. So, and we're not a well-established government agency that is already providing services to the community specifically. So I'm not entirely sure that it would be as weird as it sounded to me at first. But I think I'm down either way.
Okay, Thaddeus.
Yeah, can you hear me, Kat? I just want to make
I
sure
can,
that.
thank
Okay,
you.
great. Some suggestions that I just noticed from working at the Pride booths for the health department. One is people always love free water. So if you just literally hand out water bottles, because everyone's hot and thirsty, that's a great thing to give out. You can even just put a little sticker on it. The second thing is, again, like if you want to use your logo's engagement, you can just print out a big logo and say, give us feedback on our logo. And it brings people in, they got discussion. And then that's in a way you're requesting support from the community on an issue, which is the logo, right? That's representative. So just wanted to share those thoughts. Thank you.
Good suggestion. Okay, Rick?
Oh, I think I was trying to answer Rocco's question. I believe that the festival is only 3 hours this year, isn't it? From 5 to 8?
It's 5 to 9 at the show.
4. Is it? Okay, yeah. So 5 to 9, 4. It's a evening thing. I love the water idea, Thad. That's great.
I don't know the cost of the water. I have no idea how much. Rocco? Oh, sorry, Rocco, you're on mute.
One last question about that is, do we know how to secure that funding? What it's going to cost to pay for the booth? How does that money come from this budget that we have, that we supposedly have, and do the whole the thing online where we reserve our booth? How is that paid for? How are we submitting payment for, or a receipt for water or stickers or any of this stuff? I'm just a little curious about that too.
Very good question.
So it would be someone's credit card and you'd get reimbursed. But I would have to just write a memo to our fiscal department and director, just letting them know that this is the purchases that we are planning to make.
Did everybody hear that?
We use our personal credit card and then we get reimbursed.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
In 6 to 8 weeks.
Philip, it does take time.
Oh, sorry, Michael.
Just so so for the booth, there are a few left at $4.95. It comes with a 10 by 10 covered space, lit space, 1 6-foot table and 2 chairs. We are responsible for everything else. We are not allowed to give out anything to eat or drink out of the booth space. The way I'm reading that is only through their food vendors. As well. So if I'm reading everything properly on the Legacy's website. We say 3 weeks, that 3 weeks goes by like that. So there's a lot to be done. It would have to take somebody who's willing for this booth to even happen, who's willing to take the lead on this and make it a priority of being the one responsible for securing the space, being the one responsible for having the setup. Yeah, it's only 4 hours, each of us take an hour, then the 4 of us on Oahu can get, if we're available, to be able to do those things. But is it the best use of our monies for this, with very little that we have guaranteed that we can give out and do at the booth at this time?
So Michael did.
Oh, sorry,
Michael.
Joe.
Michael, did I hear you correctly that, so no food and water out of our booth?
That's what I, not to be given away, that's the way I read what I'm reading here.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify what I heard. And then, is everything, the tables and chairs gonna be already set up, or is that something we do ahead of time before the 5 o'clock beginning of the whole event?
They're all gonna be all set up.
We would have to set up like, as far as like if we had a table covering or balloons or whatever it is we were decorating,
Decorating the space.
that would have to be done ahead of time.
Got it,
Philip?
thank you.
Thank you. I would support whatever the commission wants, but my feelings really are, I think the parade's a great idea with a banner. I've been to dozens and dozens of Pride events all over the world. So I think being in the parade and being visible and showing up, and it's kind of our inaugural, appearance, I think that's great. I question the booth. I just knowing, having been at festivals and what people are looking for when they come, and, even if we do, I think Michael's right, 3 weeks is a lot of time to get something produced and paid for and show up. And, so if we don't have anything, I see people passing it by like, oh, another group of people just standing at a table. And I feel like our identity is really, really sort of fledgling right now. Like, I don't think we even have clarity on exactly what we're doing, or at least that's how I feel. Like when I tell people I'm on the commission and they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, we kind of, sort of, and I don't really have an answer. And I personally, and I'm not saying I wouldn't volunteer. I've volunteered plenty of times. And if I end up being there, I will volunteer, absolutely would volunteer. But, I personally would rather wait and do it next year and have some sense of, these are the things we've done. This is what we're looking at. This is what we've helped make happen. Rather than just like, hey, we're here and, we're here and we're queer and we're, get used to us. And I feel like I would personally prefer to have a little more substance before we're talking to people, waving and smiling and, holding balloons. But I will support whatever the commission wants to do. But that's my.
Yeah. Well, Aaron's
Aaron?
Can you hear me? Or am I
Yes.
muted?
I can hear you.
Can I ask if any of the ex-officios know if their departments have a booth at Pride?
Yeah, the Department of Health will have a booth and we'll be walking the parade as well.
Is there any possibility of support to have a sign with the QR code for their website there? What kind of possibilities for support can there be for the commission, at your booth?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can totally have materials or things from the commission at our booth. Our booth will be providing clinical services, so vaccines and education, as long as the commission is okay with, being associated with that. It should be totally fine. The person who's coordinating for us is literally the office next door to me, so it should be doable. We just
So if
want
I
to have
just set up,
commissioners
like, for
available.
example-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking if I set up like a QR code to a Google form and we just have a picture of our logo and the QR code to the Google form, and people can just use the QR code and then give feedback on the logo, that would be something you might be able to do.
Totally, yeah. If you do integrate with us, there's two things. One to know is we wouldn't be able to probably have the commissioners at the booth because it'll be pretty full with,
No
clinicians
problem.
and stuff. And then the second thing is, if you did have a QR code one, I would recommend making some sort of kind of larger poster board, because we're going to have a lot of, health education materials. So if you don't want it to get lost among other things, it might be helpful. And then we could display your board or something like that. But more than happy to integrate if that's what the commission would need.
Okay, Dad, when you say display the board, so I understand like a poster board, I get that. Is there do we have to also have something to put it up on?
Yeah, if you have
enough
that, that'd be great. Yeah, if you have that. But we can always, we're health department, we always figure things out. So we could hang it, or we'll have other boards as well. So I'm sure we'll have some sort of display options.
Okay. Okay, so. Any discussion, any more discussion around the booth, or are we all in somewhat agreement around providing something on that booth? Okay, so it sounds like Vika has something in the chat. Monies might be better spent elsewhere. Okay, thank you, Mika. If we did purchase fans or something, even during the parade, that might be something that would be more beneficial. Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
I just want to tamper down everybody's expectations for those fans for this time around. They're great for next year, but the getting them printed, shipped and everything and going, because on something like that's gonna be a larger budget issue that we are gonna have to go through procurement on. Because it used to be $500, but I think I'm not sure what it is now. Back when I worked at the state, it was $500. But you have to go through the entire procurement process for anything over $500.
Yeah.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Can I ask a question, please? I'm sorry, I was making notes, and is Mika one of the ex-officios? Hi, Mika. I haven't met her yet. Mika Inouye?
Hi, I'm just a community member. I actually work for Department of Health and UH.
Aloha. Thanks for coming.
Welcome, Mika. That's
Wonderful.
my daughter's name.
Some of you may know me as Micah years ago, before my transition.
Aloha.
Happy to have you.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, so if we're talking about, we've got to rent a car. One car, and then some of you would be walking as well. Who would be willing to be walking in this parade? Philip, you're good to walk. Who else is a walker? Shanda? Who else is a walker?
If I can get a flight over, I'd walk.
Okay.
I'm good to dance. Kat, please put that down there.
Go for that, Philip. I'm gonna be riding in the car, so I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I walked that far in a while, so. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
that's
know,
four of
Chair,
us.
also the
And me.
Department of the Attorney General often organizes like a car and walkers. So to the extent that you're considering all of that, and I know you're short on time, I can talk to the AG and see if that's a possibility for you guys.
To get a car, you mean?
Well, I think they usually do have a car. And so if you guys want to coordinate with them, I can ask her if that's a possibility. I can't
Sure.
guarantee anything, but you know, that might help you with your general process of all of this.
That'd be great. One less thing on my personal credit card. Yes, please, Aaron.
Okay, so I think we need an official motion on this.
Okay,
Then
so-
we will actually register for the parade, which
Yes.
is free of cost for the Pride Parade for 2024 as the commission. And set aside $300 for balloons, water, or any other paraphernalia we need to help with the unit.
Okay, so we're approving two things. One, to pay for the parade, to be in the parade.
Well,
And
no,
two-
there's no cost of the parade, just that we're gonna be in the parade for $300 to assist with the unit itself. For the one-time usage of $300.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, that's an official move.
It's
So,
official motion.
official motion from Michael, second.
Could you repeat the motion, please? Sorry.
For the commission to register for the parade and set aside $300 to assist with the unit for the 2024 Honolulu Pride Parade.
What is that for? What's the $300 for? I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Well, we're gonna need water for our marchers. We may want to do balloons, anything else to help jazz up the unit because
Does that amount, would that cover the banner that we need as
we
well?
already, We already did the banner, $500 in the previous motion.
Oh, right, okay, gotcha.
What about, but are we renting a car? I'm sorry, I didn't understand how we ended that. Are we gonna rent a car or no?
We're looking for a free car.
Looking
Aaron's
for
gonna try and hook us up.
free car, okay.
Second
Can I
on
ask,
that,
wait, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
one thing. They said that this was gonna take somebody to put this together. Who's gonna be managing this bit?
Okay, before we can have discussion, when there needs to be a second or the motion dies, and we can't have discussion when there's a motion on the floor.
But if don't we need to know what it is that I'm sorry, I didn't understand. So somebody's gonna do this if we do, right? That's our understanding.
do you want the motion repeated?
Yes, please.
Okay,
As Michael, the maker of the motion, I will take the lead to get us the, registered for the parade. As well as work with the rest of the commissioners to put the unit together with the idea that $300 is being set aside to help decorate the unit for the 2024 Honolulu Pride.
do I have a second? Philip, seconding? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions?
One abstention.
Rick is abstaining. Record shows. Okay, it is so. It is so. Okay.
We've already discussed it.
All right, the website development, we actually have pretty much discussed that already, so I think we're just gonna, do we need to vote to approve it? I think we're good. Okay, and then discussion on procedures for press release, and there has been, some questions around this, so public testimony. Okay, so what we discussed at the last meeting was that we needed to use the Department of Human Services person, who I'm so sorry, I've forgotten her name. Amanda, to write the press release. And then it would go to me for final approval. But I'm certainly, I think we're open to taking suggestions for the press release or any press releases or content for the press releases. I don't want to in any way control, over control what is going out. Philip. Sorry, you're mute.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. This is my can of worms. Maybe I brought this up a while ago, and I can't remember the context. I don't know if it was at our first meeting. I cannot remember, but I think it's important that a press release go out and that people know that there is a commission. And to my disappointment, after I was sworn in, I wrote to the mayor of Kauai and the county council members to let them know that there was a commission and I was the commissioner from the island, and that they should, take advantage and use me and bounce things off of me. Not one of them responded to my letter, which I am quite disappointed in. I think I wasn't doing it to get attention. It was like, you guys need to know that I'm here. So anyway, I think a press release should go out. I think, it should go in whatever, resources that DHS uses for press releases. I think ours should go to the same places, obviously the press, but other kind of social service organizations, et cetera, just so that people know that we're here. So I brought it up, and I think it was Kristen that talked to me about Amanda, and then there was talk about like I could write press releases with Amanda's support, and I don't have any need or agenda on writing them myself. I guess what I'd like to know is, I think one should go out announcing that there is a commission, and Michael, I think, probably knows the history of this, and so he should be consulted at least, a couple lines about how did this happen. But then I think anytime we do something, the commission's going to show up in at the Pride thing, or the commission's showing up at the the mayor's thing on the 1st of October. I know that's next week, but I have done some work with press, And anytime we do anything, I think it needs to, people need to know about it, because there's that adage that it takes people 7 times, right, to hear something over and over and over again until they go, oh yeah, I've heard of that. So I don't need to do it. I don't really care. I'd be happy to help with it or do it. I guess my question is, what is the protocol when, like, is somebody automatically going to pick up on everything we do gets a press release? Is that how it works? Or do we need to say, Kat, please contact the powers that be and ask them to write a press release for us?
And I very much appreciate your willingness to assist with this. So, you want to say something, Michael?
Yeah, again, it goes back to, again, us not being the top of the priority. I don't know, Amanda, I just know how things work here in state government is that, well, I think the clarification needs to be, it would much make Amanda's job a lot easier if we wrote it up ourselves, send her the draft to make sure it falls within the scope and how the state sends out their press releases, sends it back to Kat with any final edits, so as to give her a heads up, and then it goes, then Amanda sends it out. And I do agree that we do need to send out a press release about us being there on October 1st. We also need to send out a press release saying, hey, we exist, a media alert. And also about, even though it's coming on, our first action as an official commission was to endorse the Yes on One, which will, and so we have multiple ways of getting the word out there that earned me, aka earned media, through October 1st Pride Parade, as well as reminding people to get out there and vote and Yes on One. So there's 3 different opportunities in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks for earned media, but for that to actually happen, unless I hear differently, I think the best way for us to move forward is that if there's a press release you want out, draft it. If we need help, I've written way too many press releases in my day. I'm more than happy to look it over. Look it over if you need assistance. And I know, Phil, you're a writer too. So so coming up with ideas for a press release are cute, but not helpful. Because it takes a while to get all the information in there. If you want input from somebody else on the commission, going through Kat. So making sure we get the word out there about who we are. So I think proper protocol is if you want a press release out there, draft it, send it to Kat, Kat sends it to Amanda. Amanda shouldn't be getting press releases from each of us. It should, until we decide, that Kat's the, go-between.
Yeah,
Is that
liaison?
Liaison, okay, well, yeah, more appropriate term, a liaison when it comes to these things, so. I'm more than happy to draft the press release on Yes on One, as well as the Pride Parade. 2 separate press releases.
If you guys want, if you guys want to do a press release for the October 1st event, we can just get it drafted and then maybe take a picture, add that into the press release, and then once we get that picture, we can shoot it over to Amanda, and I can make her aware of it ahead of time and be involved that day.
Do we need to have a separate one that introduces the commission at all, like first? Like, this is the mission of the commission, these are the commissioners, and that's one, and then a separate one for
That's up
October
to you
1st
guys.
for the, what do you all think, Shanda?
Unless you guys want to include it all together in one, it's.
All together for October 1st or separate? Shanda?
I was wondering if it makes sense for us to have somebody whose job it is to do press releases for us. Like, do we have a volunteer? Do we have somebody that might want to do that? And anybody can contact them and say, hey, I think we should have one on this. This is what I think it would look like, because it seems if everybody is thinking someone else might do it, it might just fall on Kat to do. And if everybody is spending time working on one when that doesn't need to happen, that also seems inefficient. So I don't want to do it, so I'm not volunteering. But if somebody wants to, I think that would be efficient.
So I have Michael and I have Philip who are willing to do this. And Michael already said for the other 2 events, right? The Pride and Philip, would you be willing to do the one for October 1st? And does everyone think that we should be including the announcement of the commission itself in combination with the October 1st event or separate?
We gotta tell them who we are. Well, it just even the introduction would be us, the commission and established and sworn in on.
We haven't
But
even.
this is our first public appearance. Sorry. Yeah, and then about this, and as we look forward, there's some cute little quote from Kat about how we look forward to more of these events from our fellow counties in the state to start doing it.
I'm all over the cute quote.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
happy to, I'm happy to write the one about October 1st and integrate the formation, whatever the verb is, of the commission. I'm happy to do that. It'll be done by Friday.
Job.
Awesome.
No, I'm happy to do it. If we want to say that's how it go. I mean, I'll let Michael write the two that he's writing, and I'd be happy to say that I'm happy to do it. But if somebody else has an event that they feel particularly connected to or tied to, I wouldn't feel like, well, that's my job. Like if I don't know, Rocco's like, I want to write something about the commissioners coming to Kona Pride, like by all means, somebody who has the data and has the interest in it should be able to do it. So, but I'll be able to
Philip and I would, however, like approval of any pictures of us at Kona Pride.
just that one.
Yeah, Rocco has.
Rocco, you have your hand up?
Oh, yes. I was going to second what Shanda said. I really do think that it would be helpful to have one go-to person for the press release, whether it be, Philip or Michael. I think that would be really helpful. And if any of us from any of the commission that had a suggestion for a press release, like we just mentioned, I could, say, hey, Philip, here's something that we should write a press release about. Here's the numbers that were at Kona Pride. And see, is that appropriate? And my other question is, when these press releases are finally out there, is it appropriate for each of us to share them on our individual social media accounts? I think that this would kind of help with word of mouth, getting people, aware of the group just in our own social bubbles.
Yep.
I think that we can share it. You can share anything that goes out in the press as long as it's public on your own personal page. I think that's having one person, I think makes sense. Michael, how do you feel about if Philip is the go-to and you write the other two and send them to him? Does that make sense? You could all propose a press release and you could either just bullet point it or you could try taking a shot at writing it, right? So what do you think, Philip? I know you volunteered. Did you volunteer for all of this?
I don't need, no, well, I don't, yeah, I don't need to approve Michael's work.
No, but I mean, if you're the go-between, like you're the one that everyone's sending what they want for a press release too, and then it's going to be like, just so we have a protocol.
Okay, if that's, or I'm happy for him, this first go round, he's gonna write these two and send them to you and you're gonna, I'm compliant.
And then in the future, we pass them through Philip and he.
Yeah, you give me your ideas. And it's like, I may have to ask people for data. Like I would have to ask, we're going to keep talking about Rocco, well, tell me how many people showed up. And, of course I'm going to be collecting data so that it's accurate, and then I'll submit it to you. And it's fine. I assume also DHS is responsible for distributing them in an official capacity to whomever whatever channels they typically use for government information.
Kristen is nodding yes.
Okay.
And then once they're issued, we're free to issue them again ourselves. If you have your own media list, like you may happen to have relationships with reporters. Once you know it's out, once we know the press release is out, you follow up with a phone call or send it to your own press list. Or if you're willing to share that press list to see if they're willing to add gay publications to they may not have in their media arsenal. That we have but we can't rely on just the one press release. We've got to amplify these messages.
Yes.
Goes back to what Rocco was saying, that once something comes out, once the meeting notice comes out, it's behooved upon all of us to reach out to our communities, letting them know that this commission meeting is happening, putting it on social media channels, however you want to do it, just that you're not speaking on behalf of the commission, you're letting them know about this meeting. We're doing our due diligence as commissioners.
Okay, so can we have a motion to approve the procedure of press releases going to Philip, through me, and then to Amanda?
So
I don't know,
moved.
we haven't done that, we are supposed to be voting.
Can I
Aaron, did you
just
vote on
say
that?
so moved?
Aaron, do we need to vote on that?
If it's a board action, you need to vote on it, yes.
Second. Shanda moved, I seconded.
Shanda moved. Michael seconded. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or nays? It is so moved. All right, gonna pass it. Next thing, discussion of creation of other social media channels. Okay. I know I have a little bit to weigh in on here, but public testimony first. Okay, then let's discuss. Again, I think that I just want to reiterate, whenever we're talking about having all of these things, our own social media channels, then someone has to be monitoring that and taking care of that. And so that is not without labor. That's what I'm gonna put out there. Other discussion?
I asked this to put on the agenda because I think that we're missing the social media aspects when it comes to this commission. It's a way of introducing each one of us, doing what have you, getting things out there with the understanding that we would only be able to, once we get a chance at another future meeting about to vote on this, is that we're amplifying what the stuff we're doing. We're amplifying state government, like when they're looking for foster parents. We definitely need to get the word out to our community that they definitely need, because we need more inclusive foster parents. I can't tell you the number of phone calls I've gotten. They have a trans kid that he's looking for a supportive household. Or bi kid that's looking for a supportive household, kind of thing, that we then can amplify the messaging from the state, official state channels, because we are an official body within the state, that this isn't so-and-so's fundraiser kind of stuff. We're looking to keep this directly empirical to the work of this commission, as well as lowering the barriers between our community and the state government. But this is also, well, it's not free of labor, it's free of actual costs to this commission and the state and the taxpayers to get the word out there, which the ROI tends to be more, well, we see it tend to be a bigger ROI on this than other things that we will be doing.
Are there other commissions that are present on social media that we might look at as an example? Because one of my questions would be, how do we know, I mean, are we going to approve what gets put out there? Because if we put one person, for example, in charge of social media, and something goes out that we wouldn't want out there, right? I mean, should we all be agreeing to the content, Rocco, do you have any of that?
I think that was my big question is, I mean, it sounds like it would work well to do with just how we, decided, okay, Philip's going to be the press writer, that then goes to Shanda, and then that gets submitted to DHS. If one person was in charge of an Instagram feed or a Facebook page, the most important thing would be that the rest of the commissioners submit information that would be important to posts. So if there's extra data for certain events or certain things that were happening that we want to post about, which would like the October 1st thing, for instance, we would need to know exactly what it is in order to post about it, right? So would that just end up being something that all of us contribute to, the one person, or there's got to be a pecking order in order to get that to move smoothly, I think.
And if it were, for example, going through me for approval every single time, there are things that I'm going to have to do due diligence on and research before I would even be able to. That's one of my concerns. And also, what would be the relationship for DHS? Like, press releases have to be approved, but what about social media?
So they're okay with it as long as there's no type of violation. And I think Amanda will also go over with you folks or the social media person about how to respond if you guys get messages, and are you able to respond and respond properly, or that kind of things with it. I can't say for sure.
We'd also need a posting, we'd also need a comment policy that about how are we gonna allow comments or not allow comments kind of thing. Sort of defeats the purpose of having social media when you're not allowed to have comments. But when are we allowed to delete comments? We need to get guidance from Amanda. But if we set up a policy that no profanity, no derogatory terminology, this is a quote unquote safe space for discussion around LGBTQI issues, that anything falls within the bullying or whatnot can be deleted. That is, I encourage that DHERD has they used to, back when I ran their social media page, have a policy set up, or a posting policy as well as a commenting policy.
Shanda?
I think that if we were to, I agree, setting it up seems like the obvious thing to do. And if at least initially, while we're considering anything else, we post only, even if we just post press releases or repost other people's press releases, like for October 1st, we're going to post that as a thing. I think getting that out there right away would be worthwhile. If we are allowing comments, that is it. I agree with Michael that we're going to have probably a lot of comments that are going to have to be sifted through. So that does create a lot of time. And anytime I've seen any government agency posting anything that is LGBTQ plus, I've seen a lot of really negative comments pop up. So that would have to be handled and managed, and would be a big job. So if we at least start before we come up with maybe a better plan or a different plan later, if at least we start with no comments and approved press releases, then we have something to approve, and at least we can get started.
Others want to weigh in on this? Please, Philip.
I don't know if I have anything new to add. I do think it's important that we have a social media presence, but I think it's complex. And my question was the same as yours. With the press releases, we're talking about potentially my writing something, giving it to you, you forwarding it to Amanda to make sure that it's all what we used to say kosher, it's all good. There's another set of, and I think it's great. There's, I would write something, your eyes are on it, Amanda's eyes are on it. So there's 3 sets of eyes looking over to make sure that we present the way we want to present, the information's accurate and correct. So I think social media is important too, but that's a big, and I'm just looking at Facebook, Instagram, Threads, even just those 3, that's a lot, and who is making sure that we do it the right way, and in a way that expresses what we want it to express and reflects us as we want to be reflected to the community. So I think it's I don't have an answer. I think it's a big job.
Michael, was this a task you were thinking of volunteering for, since you were originally the one who brought it up? I've got to ask because.
Sure, why not? I could do it for other groups. Yeah.
It is
and
a lot of work to
It's-
take care of comments and things.
It is if you, well, take, with the understanding that there is real-time responses. And when we get to them, and with having somebody, not right now, since we're gonna have to come up at the next meeting, and I am willing to take the lead on this, but I will come up with a draft policy for you all to review. It will be included in your board packet for the next meeting. And with the parameters for posting to these social media channels that because the minute you do one fundraiser in this community, you gotta do them all. And so we cannot be using state resources, which this technically will be considered once it's established. Because we fall under the state government, we cannot be out there raising money using state resources. That's a violation of the ethics code. So that with those understanding of these parameters to keep us in line with ethics, I will set up the parameters, procedures. If you have any suggestions for any of these things, please get them to me no later than October 5th. We have our 16th. The meeting, October 16th is the meeting. So October 5th is the deadline. You get me any of your ideas for these policies and for things for us to discuss. So to be put in your board packets for review, so we can actually, we're gonna take baby steps on this, and we're not gonna do everything all at once. And if there's a social media channel, I think we have to have, that's the way you volunteer yourself. In my eyes,
All right, so board packet, next meeting.
with those three things.
Any further discussion? Or are we good to table that until we have the board packet for next meeting? Tabling discussion. Okay, then we're gonna move on. We're at 4 o'clock now. Discussion of how to support constitutional amendment, question number 1. Testimony, anyone? Public. Okay, commissioners, Michael,
We all have our titles, use them. Write a letter to the editor, that does not need to go through Amanda, you have a title. Letters to the editor asking people, using your own social media things and saying, did you know that the commission voted back in August? July to endorse this, this is why I'm supporting yes on that. So those are two things where I will get the press release out sooner rather than later on yes and one. The one thing that we, I think we all should be worried about losing this one. I'm gonna put that right out there. Because it has to be 50% plus one of all ballots cast. Not all votes cast. A blank vote is a no vote when they do the tallying. And people may not turn the ballot over. Luckily, it's gonna be a short question, unlike the other question 2, which probably gonna go down in flames, because it's about a half a page question. But when people turn it over, they see all that writing, they may just move on. And we've got to do everything we can, if we want this amendment to pass, make sure people understand this and having the discussions that, yes, this is a heavier lift because it's a pure deletion. So everybody knows what. And that's the reason I gave you the background in your first board packet, and I can resend that out to everybody. So you have all the background on yes on one, if you have any questions about that. Somebody asks you, what happens if this fails? What happens if it passes? We've removed discrimination from our state constitution. We sort of unrighted or wrong. We got righted or wrong. And so these are the things that we can do without using all of our networks to get the word.
thank you, Michael. Rocco,
I was just wondering if there is any access to a simplified version that we can use on our own personal social media accounts to I feel like some of the things that I see posted online about this are very complex and there's a lot to read about it. So is there some way that maybe, Philip, our new writer over here, that can kind of create a press release that makes sense of, hey, we backed this, here's what it is. Please make sure that you vote on this issue coming up. Is there a way that we as the commission can put something out there that says, make sure you do this, here's what we're supporting?
Michael's writing that post.
Oh, Michael.
Michael's writing that press release.
Gotcha.
So
Sorry.
here to be for opposed, whatever you think is gonna get across, because I know what matters. I know what I've been told from other people that why they're voting yes on one getting rid of discrimination.
Mhm.
Number one reason. Plain and simple, don't leave it blank. Remove discrimination from our constitution. So yes, there's some more lengthier stuff out there. I'm voting yes because it's the right thing to do, blah, blah, blah. But whatever you think it is, we don't have our own social media channels. I will keep the press release as brief as possible when it comes to this. We don't need to get into the whole background of it about therapy, Maiki. We don't need to.
I will say what you just said really hit home though, that you cannot leave that blank. I don't think that I've seen that anywhere. And I think that that's a really important message that even people in our community need to pay attention when they're going through the voting process to make sure that they're looking for that. So I really like that. That was a good point to bring out.
I just want to sort of reiterate that I last week emailed everybody, personal friends, right, and associates, any personal friend or associate that lives in the state of Hawaii, and just 3 or 4 sentences like, most people are not aware that this language is in the Constitution. This is why I'm asking you as a gay married man, why I am asking you to support me and my marriage, and don't leave it blank because a no vote, is counted, or a blank vote is counted as a no. It was encouraging and disheartening at the same time. The number of people who are friends of mine from every possible gender identity or sexual orientation or whatever, who are like, I didn't know about this. I never heard about it. Really? No, marriage is protected in the US. It's startling how many people don't understand, really what's going on. So I would say do that, right? Like Michael's saying, in your own words, to your own friends or your own family or your own people. Hey, do you know this is happening? And I'm asking you, please vote yes on one.
And we have on here to vote to approve how we're going to, but everything suggested has been individual besides the press release, which we've already agreed is going to be written, right? So I don't think we need to vote on anything. Was there anything else to discuss or any other suggestions to make before we move on? Rick? Rick, if you're talking, we can't hear you. I can't see your mouth.
I'm sorry, I had you on mute again. I have just sent in the chat I sent the chat the link that goes to the website, and one of the flyers, again, there's 3 flyers. One of them does talk about you have to vote yes, not leave it blank. These are the flyers that they have. I don't know if that will help anybody to put together whatever we want to put together.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, let's move on to availability for the travel protocol training. So basically, this was too hard to get everybody to respond to via email. So Kristen is here with us, and can we discuss when everyone is available for the travel protocol training, which with all the things coming up sooner than later, it might be nice to do that sooner than later. Kristen, do you want to give some parameters for when we might plan for that?
Let's see. I'm pretty much available all next week except for 10 in the morning on Monday.
Okay.
Whatever you guys works best with everybody. I know that some of you guys want to fly in for the 1st. So if it's easier, if you guys, I can talk to everybody as we go along. For the inter-island people that are flying in as well.
It might be better if we just take a minute here to talk about, for those who want to fly in on October 1st, what would be,
Okay.
is that approvable and what would be the process? And also, if, for example, like Joe can't get a flight back to his island, is there approval then to stay overnight?
Okay, so for the first, what time is your?
So
folks-
there's a 1 o'clock flag thing.
Or what time is your event?
1 o'clock is the one event, and then the other one is in the evening, 5:30 to 7.
Oh, okay, so since it's a later, there's an event at nighttime. The inter-island folks that are flying in can stay overnight at a hotel. So this will be coming out of the commission's budget. Coming in, we would have you come in as soon, we can go over times. Usually it'll be the cheapest flight, simple going in and going back home. So the next day, it would probably be maybe like a morning flight. I can't have you guys.
Unless you have some justifiable reason
Yes.
that you cannot, right?
Why you're taking a evening flight or a late afternoon flight, I can't justify that unless you guys are having a commission business. We do reimburse for transportation, so Ubers, Lyft, taxis. Or if there's a bunch of, the three of you folks want to come in and you guys maybe want to coordinate with getting a rental car, we can do that as well. Hotels, I would look in around this area or wherever the event's gonna be held, and find the cheapest hotel possible as well.
Do they need to get 3 quotes or
I
anything?
can do that.
You do that part, okay. So basically, you're gonna need to use your own credit card and then get reimbursed, except
Yes.
for the flight, which you can go ahead.
So the flight, I have to talk to, find a P card for me to use.
Yeah, no help.
I should be able to get one if they allow me to use it, fiscal. But if not, I will have to use a credit, we would have to play middleman and book through you folks using your own personal credit card. As for the hotel, you would have to use your own personal credit card. We can't use a P card for that.
As well as the transportation,
car.
the Uber or whatever.
Yes.
to rent a car.
And then you guys need to keep your original boarding pass, stub tickets as well. But if you do online check-in, I just ask that you guys screenshot it and then send it to me.
You all hear that part? Keep the boarding pass or screenshot the online one. Philip.
I just want to also verify, Kat and I had talked about this and we weren't clear. So it's not just a meeting where we're voting on things. It would count for October 1st and let's say October 19th if I flew over for the parade. Are there parameters on what kinds of things I can come over for?
As long as you run it through the commission and Kat, because that's the final person that will authorize your folks' travel and the usage of the budget.
And we have been invited as commissioners, so that is official business, so to speak.
Okay, thank you.
And we did already approve travel for Pride when we originally came up with our budget.
Okay, so for the evening event, if you weren't invited in your official commissioner capacity, would that count?
If you guys were,
As long as I
as
approve.
long as it was as the commission was invited, it'll,
Okay,
because you're part of the commission and it's board.
Yeah, those weren't personal invites, unlike the one for the flag ceremony, but I would see us representing the commission when we're there. I would be happy for as many to be there as possible. The other,
well, you're bringing it up is because there is limited capacity of that one, because it is a smaller venue over there. So if you haven't RSVP'd yet, and secured your RSVP, I would do that today,
good point. Good point.
because
And then if you folks can let me know by tomorrow if you're planning to fly in, that would be great, because I have to do some paperwork on my end and get all the signatures and purchase flights as soon as possible to get you guys a better deal before the weekend plans, before the flights go up. Sure.
So we still need to discuss when our original travel protocol training, right? We have to,
So yes,
If you guys maybe not next week, because you guys are. You guys have your event, or
Do you think there's other things to cover under the protocol other than what we just talked about?
not really?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. It's just as long as Kat, because I'm gonna go through Kat about your guys' travel to make sure that it's okay for me to process. And Shanda to make sure, you know, there's budget as long as we go on. But other than that, as long as we're in communication and you guys give me a heads up. I say at least a month is preferable. I would say at least 2 weeks out, that would be great. It's a little bit harder if it's closer, but I know this one is kind of a last minute thing and we want you guys there.
Does that work for all our Outer Island folks? Are you clear on the procedures or do you have any additional questions?
Yeah, I really, I'd like to put it out there that I'd love to be there for the first. I just want to make sure I can get home.
Yeah, so she said you could stay the night in the hotel and then fly back the following morning.
The first,
That works.
yeah, first thing in the morning works perfect for me. It's just like when I get there would be the first earliest possible to get there in the morning as well, so.
And then maybe if someone can send me a invitation of the event, so I can put it in part of the reasoning of why we're going.
Thank you so much.
So I'll reach out to you, Joe, tomorrow I'll look at over everything tomorrow. And then I'll reach out with you and kind of coordinate some steps.
And Kristen, just one thing, because I'm one that hates to fly at 6 o'clock in the morning. If the cheapest flight, if there's multiple times for the cheapest flight, they can choose another time, right? It doesn't
Yes.
have to be 6 a.m. So if you look at the flight schedule and the 6 a.m. flight is, for example, the same cost as the 11 a.m. flight, you're fine to go on the 11 a.m. flight. You don't have to go at the crack of dawn if there's other flights that are at the same time.
Perfect, thank you, thank you.
I just can't justify for leaving in the afternoon or in the evening.
Okay, so you can't extend like your day, but yeah, within the morning time,
It's
they're still
preferred.
good. Okay,
It's very much preferred.
Great.
awesome. And then, I mean, in the future, like there is wiggle room for like deviation, but that's a whole nother procedure. So if we can just do it for now, to be here for this event, that's probably the easiest, right, Kristen?
For this event coming up, yes, but if you plan to deviate, let me know and we can work out all the information and what needs to get done with that.
It's a little bit more red tape.
I appreciate all.
Okay, awesome. So, see, now we are to update on the hiring process of the secretary position. Kristen, where are we at?
So I got another list from DHERD. We're waiting, so we give them a little bit of a notice of, hey, we seen that you apply. Please let us know by a certain date, if you're still interested. I also did a follow-up phone call, so I'm waiting to hear back. Probably I put a deadline for this week. If not, probably will have to move to an 89-day hire. But if we do an 89-day hire, which is like a temporary hire, we prefer that they meet minimum qualifications to turn into a possible permanent position.
Okay, so as far as the list that you have,
It was only one person
one person,
on this next list that I got. But the list prior was about 7 candidates, but I haven't heard back.
nobody wanted to interview.
Yeah, or they had other requests.
Because your list is the same list that everybody is getting,
Yes.
that, yeah. Shanda, you have your hand up.
Yeah, this is an in-person position, or is this something that somebody could do from the privacy of their own home? Obviously not during our meetings, but can it be partly telework?
It would be in person.
Because I've talked to a couple people that would be super interested, but don't want to travel because they're West Side.
That's a big consideration. But that's not our decision, right?
Yeah, because it falls under DHERD. I mean, not DHERD, DHS.
Okay, so when do you reach out to that one person?
I reached out, I followed up with a phone call Monday.
And so you haven't scheduled an interview, but you're waiting to hear back?
I'm waiting to hear back if they're still interested. To schedule an interview?
It's already Wednesday. Yeah. Then it
Kristen-
goes to 89.
Was she from here, from Maui, who applied?
No, she was here locally
Oh,
in Oahu. I don't think I've had anybody outer island on this new list.
Any questions for Kristen regarding this?
And so it goes to, it stays at their current, even with the 89, it stays at their current recruitment, correct?
Yes.
So, and everybody's did put the listing out to all your friends and family in every social media platform, right?
The benefit of the 89-day hire is that the qualifications aren't as rigid as they are for positions. So that does open it up to more folks.
In a sense,
Right?
Not really.
it's more, we can process them a little faster in getting here.
They get onboarded quicker.
Yeah, but we would prefer that they meet at least the minimum qualifications, so we can turn them into a permanent. Because if not, they're still gonna be a temporary position with not really the full benefits in this full state employee.
Yeah.
Yes, and with the, I'm not sure if we covered this, but an 89-day hire means no medical, no vacation,
No sick,
no sick,
pension, you can't get into your years of service,
doesn't-
your 401k, things like that.
all the great benefits that come with state employment do not exist with the 89-day hire. And they only can work 89 days, and then they're put on,
And then we have to go to deeper to ask for an extension.
yeah.
So is it worth sending that out to our friends one more time?
It's a continuous recruitment. So I can send the link again to everybody in an email. We can try and ask for another list if you guys want, unless if you guys know anybody that meets the minimum qualifications, we can try to do the 89-day and go that way and see if this person works for the commissions.
One of the benefits of having social media is that we will be able to share posts like that. Right? Okay. Any further discussion?
Not to be Debbie Downer, if we don't get this position filled, since it has been sitting there, there may be a legislator that tries to claw this position back. So I love being Debbie Downer on things like this, just so we have to put this in reality out there. So hopefully everybody will put this again out to all your networks, especially those of us with all our networks on Oahu, since it doesn't pay enough for you to actually commute or move over to Oahu from the neighbor island. So that this may become a reality, maybe not in 2025, but in 2026, somebody's gonna look to claw this position back. And we really would like to help. And I'm sure the Father Commission is well equipped too.
All right, our final discussion piece under this section is the update on the YouTube channel. Michael.
It's up and running. We have the first meeting there. Unfortunately, there was the recording issue with the last meeting. Later today, I will be getting the link for today's meeting and I will download that and they will be for the YouTube for our minutes and getting that out there. And I encourage you to share that channel broadly with everybody so people can be fascinated by our wonderful meetings and know what we're doing out here. So when people ask what we do, we're like, here, 2 hours of your life.
Thank you, Michael, for taking that on.
Your question?
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so now how does somebody who goes to the DHS webpage get to the how does that get connected?
We're gonna add that to the list of things. We're gonna send that, like we talked about earlier, we're gonna putting more robust information on there, going through those things with our email address on how to register to sign up to get the agenda and or contact the commission as well as that. And should we reach our other social media? Because quite frankly, YouTube is considered a social media platform. And so that we'll put those links available there when we send that stuff over to Kristen and she will forward it on.
Anyone else? Okay, super. When I look at the commission action items, it seems we've already taken care of those, so I think we can skip through that. And it is 4:24 now. Strategic planning, we were going to discuss the meeting.
Chair, can you just, Chair Aaron, can you just ask if there's any public testimony on the items, just out of, to be complete?
Oh, any public testimony items or public testimony on the items under commission action items? Discussion on how to facilitate communication with public media and marketing, or the approval of the commission budget. Okay, no public testimony noted. Under strategic planning, I went ahead and added in all the details of HRS 369-5. So can we discuss how we as a commission are going to meet the duties of the commission? And we will take public testimony first. Okay, moving on, commissioners. I think one of the ways we can meet some of these, or hopefully all of these statutory duties, would be to think about item 2, which is the potential committees or PIGs. What do you all think?
If we are acting as a central clearinghouse and coordinating body for lots of information, I think the web page having a million links, having lots and lots of links would be one way of doing this, connecting people to as many queer LGBTQ plus links that we can. Sorry, I'm being redundant there, but I think that for all of us to gather as much as possible, anything that could be related, and to kind of include it in our website would be one thing that could be helpful.
And my question around that would be to that. I know that you have an awesome website. You all are doing a fantastic job, but we don't want to be redundant necessarily. So how might we supplement rather than supplant what you all are doing, or joint efforts in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, well, one thing is ours is mostly focused on health related issues, which overlaps with a lot of other issues, of course. So maybe considering that anything outside of the purview of health specifically or medical could be an opportunity. I would also say policy is an important space where we can't necessarily say certain things or promote certain things. So that would be a great opportunity for the commission to post on the website as well. And of course, I think we've already linked to the commission on our website. So we're always happy to share information on a website. As long as it's not advocating for a particular issue, then we can share anything else.
Thank you. Chris?
I was wondering if there could be something on our agendas each month, announce things, resources, events, or groups that we had located, so that at least it would be reflected in our minutes. Found groups that we might want to partner with.
I think, wouldn't that fall under when at the beginning of the meeting, each one of you has time to share concerns or resources? Would that be the appropriate place?
We could, unless we wanted to add announcements or something. Just general, but we could totally. That's where we would do it. An example would be what I found here was a group at the Domestic Violence Clearinghouse is now running a group focused to LGBTQ people. So I'm wondering, like we said, we found out that this agency is doing. We could just make sure we make those announcements somehow, and it would be reflected in our minutes.
Okay, Rocco put in the chat that he has to get going, and yes, Joe as well, so I think we're gonna have to come to a close because it's 4:30. So let's think about, for our next meeting, discussing the committees and the pigs. What do we need to do and why, to meet these statutory duties? And we will continue talking about pride plans, obviously, too. Michael?
And that if you have ideas, the board packet's a great way to get information out about how we can address these statutory requirements for this commission. If you have an idea, to put forward for us to consider and vote on, and making sure Kat makes it a voting item for the thing, but just using the board packets to educate your fellow commissioners as well as the general public about whatever area or however you want to see that doing. On that note, I do want to request that we invite the representatives from the Equality Caucus, someone from the Equality Caucus to come and visit with us in October. I know, so we can just, because we do need to start getting our legislative priorities, because if we don't get those done, it's going to be really hard to find someone to introduce the legislation for us, for our priorities, or we just sit back and see what other people do, and then we decide if we're going to support or oppose. But I think we should at least come up with three priorities that we find a legislator to introduce for us.
Michael, are you willing to contact someone to be here?
Of course I am.
Okay, then please do so.
Will do.
All right, with that, we are adjourning at 4:31. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Aloha.